How are we doing, people? It's your man Nex, and it's time to break down the Season 7 premiere, Dragonstone. Obviously, if you haven't seen the episode yet, then be careful for spoilers beyond this point. Carrying on with their season theme that winter is here, very early on we get another glimpse at the Night King's army, and for the first time we can see that he has reanimated not just one but at least 3 giants into his army. Bran and Meera make it to the wall, and you can see that Meera is just completely exhausted and ready to collapse by this point. It seems as though Bran can now read people's minds, as he was able to quickly snap up Ed's memories to prove that they also know about the Night King and the Great War. Over at Winterfell, Jon has summoned all the Lords of the North so they can begin their plans to locate, mine and craft weapons from Dragonglass to help fight the White Walkers. Even the new young Lord Umber and Lady Karstark are in attendance, as Jon makes them reconfirm their allegiance to the Starks. Sansa, however, has different ideas about what should be done, and the two engage in several awkward moments. I still don't believe that this is Sansa trying to wrestle the power or control away from Jon. I think she just wants to be listened to, but she's definitely going about it in the wrong way. What I thought was really interesting was how dark the two got when trying to actually make up. Sansa initially comparing Jon to Joffrey, and then when trying to give Jon some solid advice about the mistakes that Robb and Ned made, Jon isn't interested by this point. Maester Walken delivers Jon a raven from Cersei, requesting that he bends the knee, and immediately Jon and Sansa further disagree about what their focus and priority should be. Oddly, it felt like very familiar ground, as Sansa could only argue that she knew Cersei and Jon didn't, just like with Ramsay. And at this point, even Jon can't help but pass comment that it's almost as if she admires Cersei.
You almost sound as if you admire her.
I learned a great deal from her.
Podrick is getting put through his paces, and there is definitely improvement there, but Brienne is just too clean. So much that Tormund can't help envy Pod about the rough treatment he's getting.
You're a lucky man.
As for Littlefinger, I genuinely believe that his time is inevitably coming to an end. Sansa only shows restraint with him because he commands the Knights of the Vale, but Brienne has no intention of letting Baelish be alone with Sansa. I wonder which trick is going to be his last. Arya's story arc picks up right from where we last saw her in Season 6, which was slicing Walder Frey's throat, so it was almost obvious what was going to happen when we saw him addressing a room full of any Frey that was important to him. She hits the road not long after and finds herself joining the company of a small band of Lannister troops. And it's a great little scene because the show teases a game between the lines of who is good and who is evil. When Arya first approaches them, you get the sense that she's planning how she wants to kill them, eyeing up their swords, but it's as if partway through she realizes that even though they're Lannister soldiers, they're actually good young men. They give her food and drink, and they all share stories. She's so unsuspecting to them that when she tells them her plans to travel to King's Landing and kill Queen Cersei, everyone just laughs, thinking she's not serious. But now we know that this is where Arya is likely headed for next. Whilst Arya appears to be heading south, crossing paths and making their way north is the Brotherhood without banners, who were last seen trying to recruit the Hound. Sandor finds himself coming face to face with some of the wrongs that he's done as the Brotherhood takes shelter under the roof of a man who once took Arya and the Hound in on their travels. Just like Sandor predicted though, they had both died, or in this case committed suicide, come winter. Guided by the words of Beric, the Hound tries to make amends for what he did, but not before Thoros helps him see a vision in the fire about what they're going to be up against, the Night King and his army. If you can make the Hound believe in this Red Priest shit, sign me up. Back in the capital, things are really starting to fall apart at the seams between Jaime and Cersei. They've barely spoken since he's come back, and they haven't even discussed Tommen's suicide. And then when they attempt to do it, Cersei lashes out about how Tommen betrayed her. A part of him is clinging onto his loyalty to Cersei, but he really isn't buying into this dynasty that she's trying to sell. Their strain is only made worse by the fact that Cersei actually invited Euron and the Iron Fleet to try and broker her alliance, but knowing that it's because he wants a queen. Where does that leave Jaime? Euron's audience with Jaime and Cersei in the throne room was truly a showcase for the type of character that Euron is going to be. He shows no fear when the mountain blocks his advance up the throne stairs, and he revels in the stories of murder in both defeat and victory, and he even takes the opportunity to insult Jaime about only having one hand. In the end, Cersei rejects his proposal, but it was only to test whether Euron would prove himself worthy, which of course he anticipated, and vows to not return to King's Landing until he has a gift for Cersei to seal their proposal. Moving on to the Citadel, we join back up with Sam and Gilly to find out whether they're any closer to obtaining the information they need about the White Walkers, only to find out that Sam has had to spend most of his time taking on a steward-like role. He's taking on the dog's body of the work in order to try and earn entry into the restricted area of the Citadel's library, but in the end he reverts back to thieving, as it's just much easier to get what you want that way. During one of his and Gilly's midnight reads from their stolen session, Sam discovers that there is a mountain of dragonglass hidden underneath Dragonstone, so he sends a raven to inform Jon. The last we see of Sam, he's doing the rounds on the sick ward when none other than Jorah Mormont bursts his arm through one of the cell holes. He's still obsessing over Daenerys as he asks Sam whether she's made it to Westeros yet. Also, the progression of his grayscale is looking on the verge of terminal, but now that Jorah and Sam have had their sudden introduction, it will be interesting to see if Sam does find a cure. There isn't much to talk about regarding the final scene, as there was only one line of dialogue spoken throughout, but Dragonstone was absolutely breathtaking. It's obviously very emotional for Daenerys, as this is the first time that she's been here since her birth on the Isle. There was no sign of Melisandre just yet though, so I am beginning to wonder whether she is the unexpected visitor in the next episode, or if they've just not found her in the castle yet. There are plenty of theories that I need to start working on for you guys, also the prediction for the next episode, and I'm working on my reaction video. So, in the only spoken words of Daenerys in this episode,
shall we begin?